Okay. Hi, Jill. Thanks for letting me interview you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Um, so let's just start off by having you introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you want them to know about you.
I have a phone that goes off a lot. I'm a visual artist and filmmaker. Let's see. I do a lot of television editorial, and I've made several uh, various and sundry things in video, music videos, PSAs. My debut directorial effort was a movie called Life Inside Out, a feature starring Maggie Baird and Phineas O'Connell. And that one, it went to like 21 film festivals and won 16 awards, including Best Feature and audience favorite. And so that was a really fabulous experience. It's getting redistributed soon. Um, and I'm in pre-production for my next feature.
Which
Well,
is
oh, the next feature is called No Name Highway currently. And it's a road movie with four unlikely people teaming up to on a journey from Los Angeles to Glacier National Park.
amazing. Can you describe for us your experience with Constellation Incubator?
Um, well, my experience with Constellation Incubator for a big part of it was a little bit crazy because I was actually on the road scouting the movie. So I was constantly in search of a place where I could have a quiet room and secure data, like Wi-Fi that would work. So it was a little crazy making for me just logistically, but I really loved talking with the other filmmakers and sort of I I loved the brainstorming aspect of Constellation Incubator. A lot of it was just getting together and letting anything fly. And that was a lot of fun because we put unconsciously or consciously limitations on our thinking, I think, a lot. And so just to not only be given the permission, but you all insisted that we just go for it. And that was really freeing and fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um, what were your key insights or takeaways that have stuck around during these months since then?
Well, I keep thinking about, and it's not a new thought. I mean, it's a thought that I had before. That's why I was interested in Constellation Incubator. I keep thinking about more holistic ways to create films so that people aren't burnt out, stressed out, broke, exhausted. Ways to just sort of make film sets a better place for people and make the process of making a film a healthier thing for the filmmakers. So that's sort of what I keep thinking about as the months have passed.
Yeah. Do you have any insights into that? Or ideas?
Uh, yeah, a lot of the ideas. I mean, first of all, the first idea is just you treat everybody with respect on your set, and you try to bring people along that are good people. Not just good craftspeople, but good humans that are happy to be working together. That's number one. Then the other thing is I feel like the best thing to do is like not the long hours, but then that winds up costing so much more money. So then you have to bring partners on that are understanding of that and willing to give a little bit more for that, but not turn it into a longer shoot and still the long hours. And a big part of that for me, I think, is just prep, absolutely prepping, making sure the script is in the best place it possibly can be, and doing everything you can to prep that shoot before you set foot on location or on the set, so that the problems that come up are new problems, not problems that could have been solved before. And that also comes down to respect. If I have respect for my crew and my cast, then I'm going to do everything I can beforehand to be prepared for them. Um,
Yeah. Were there any other ideas around that sort of on-set well-being that because this was a big theme of Constellation
yes.
Incubator, like any of sort of more out of the box thoughts that have come from that?
I loved the idea that there was somebody on set that was just around for well-being.
Yeah.
And it meant that that person, you know, in its most basic sense, it could be a human resource person, which sounds like bad. But this person, some of the ideas that came out were that they would hand out candy at 3 o'clock, or, like they would finish coffee, or like a affirmations of the day, or a question of the day for the crew, so that everybody was sort of on board with this wacky question that they all had to answer, or whatever it was to keep up the morale of the crew. That was a really fabulous idea, I thought, that
Yeah.
helped to support the idea of respect and making this a fun place to work. You're working hard, but let's make it fun. I really like that.
Did you see that Lauren Sawa sent around an article about how the BFI in England is now requiring a wellness coordinator on their
Oh,
sets?
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Just this week.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that our group specifically was saying that we wanted to have a situation for mentors and mentees. And so that anyone you hired had to be willing to be a mentor to somebody. And then we would bring mentees onto the set that would be paid a wage so that they could do it. So it wouldn't be just limited to people that had the means to take a little hiatus and make a film. And that mentee would have an opportunity to learn the craft, whatever department that they were assigned to. And IATSE just started this.
I know.
Months later, like just
Months
a couple
later.
months later.
It's
Yeah.
really, I mean, we certainly can't claim credit for it, but it is interesting that like these ideas all began emerging right after
Yeah.
the incubator.
Yeah, because I hadn't really, I hadn't really thought about that in a concrete way.
Oh,
And I hadn't heard it in the atmosphere,
no.
except to hear that making films sort of is like, how do you get in? Like, that's a conversation that's sort of constant. But yeah, the fact that it became part of our contract
Yeah.
was pretty amazing.
Wild.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've shifted either in how you are working or how you intend to work that shifted because of our summer?
Well, I'm very curious about, and I don't know how this would be for me, but I'm very curious about, we talked a lot about how you bring in the producers who are financing the movie, ways to bring them into the process where they feel included and excited. So that's something I'm thinking about. I don't quite know, since we don't know who's financing our movie yet. I don't know how that's going to work or how you go out and look for that person. But I do have an experience of a friend of mine just met somebody that's going to fund a documentary of his, and is that person. It's that person that's looking for something creative and exciting to do with his money.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation. I was like, that's the guy. That's the kind of person you want. Someone that's going on that journey with you and excited for the adventure. And really, anyway.
Yeah. We that also really stuck with me from Constellation Incubator, and with the 51 fund, with our latest round of investors, we've started doing quarterly happy hours on Zoom, but with all the investors, and it's been really transformational because I mean, we were always good about sending updates to them, but to have a thing where they can come and meet the other investors and have a conversation with us and ask us questions has been a completely different thing. And I will never raise money from investors again without doing something like that.
Oh, that's fabulous. So they feel like they're getting to know a group of people. It's like a social hour as well as,
Yeah.
and you can talk about concerns and excitements, and you can talk about questions. You can answer each other's questions. That's great.
Yeah. And also just kind of chat, like, because I think we underestimate how much of the investors' interest is also just in getting to know people from the film industry and getting a peek into this world that they know nothing about. And often when I think we're just sending out updates, we don't even think about some of the things they want to know, because those things are so obvious to us or seem very mundane, but to them are really exciting.
Right. Yeah, to us it's just our work, but if it's someone that isn't necessarily every day in our industry, that's a nugget that's really fun to talk about. And yeah, oh, that's right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about how you're thinking about the future of film or about of story or the business of indie film?
I feel like this has got to be a time, I was thinking back on the film that I made, and we shot it in 2012, and how difficult it was to find, not just shoot it, although that was the easiest part, I think, in retrospect. We did a Kickstarter campaign, and we got our friends together, and we made this film for like on a shoestring, and we made this beautiful film that went to all sorts of festivals. We had a great time. And then it sort of hit this wall when it came to distribution. It got distribution, but no support in that distribution necessarily. And so it sort of was undiscovered, because a big part of, there's so much content out there these days that it's hard to just rise above and get noticed and get those eyeballs on it. And so, but at the same time, I think now, 10 years later, that there is such an opportunity for filmmakers. There are so many more avenues to get your stuff out there with the advent, with all the streaming channels. And so I feel hopeful about that. I feel excited about that. I do still sort of wonder how you get yourself out there, like I said, above the massive content that's there.
Yeah. Yep. That's something I don't know if you saw, but we're restarting the Joyful Vampire Tour series about Bite Me now that we're doing a digital only release to specifically explore that question over like 6 months, because yeah, like what works in this unbelievably overwhelming sea of content? How do you actually get people's attention?
Right. I think honestly, that's the next hardest question.
Yeah. Where can people find you, and how can they support your work?
I'm usually at Jilly Dag on the social channels, and yeah, definitely follow me on the socials and support my work. Put good thoughts out there. I'll very soon we'll be starting all of that, trying to get the notice of
So subscribe to the social channels now so that
subscribe to the socials now, so that 6 months from now you'll be already
yeah,
ahead of the game. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you, Naomi. Really, thank you for making me a part of Constellation Incubator. It was really an interesting and exciting process.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.